The Voice in the Shadows. My Encounter with the Unseen Part 2. The man who helped me turned out to be a local construction worker named Hank. His weathered face was grim as I recounted the terrifying encounter, voice trembling despite the painkillers dulling the throbbing in my ankle. The doctor who examined me confirmed a sprained ankle and a nasty scrape on my arm, but thankfully nothing broken. As the throbbing pain subsided, a new wave of worrying crashed over me. I need to find Sarah, I told Hank, the urgency in my voice clear. He nodded, his expression etched with a concern that went beyond simple politeness. The police arrived shortly after. They listened intently to my story, but skepticism flickered in their eyes like a dying flame. A missing teenager and a shadowy figure with a rusty pipe didn't exactly scream credible witness. We'll look into it, the lead officer, a gruff woman named Detective Miller, said finally. But frankly, kid, with no witnesses besides yourself and a rather outlandish story, it's not much to go on. Frustration bubbled up inside me like a pot of boiling water. Don't you believe me? Detective Miller sighed, her gaze heavy. We want to believe you, kid, we really do. But missing persons cases are a dime a dozen, and most turn up safe within a few days. We need something more concrete before we can dedicate resources to a full investigation. What about the figure? I pressed, desperation sharpening my voice. Didn't that thing count for something? We'll check the area, see if there's any security footage or anything. But frankly, it sounds like you might have been shaken up by the situation and embellished a bit. Her words stung like a slap, but I knew arguing wouldn't help. They wouldn't take me seriously. Defeated, I left the hospital, the sterile white walls offering a harsh contrast to the churning chaos in my gut. Hank offered to drive me home, but I declined, a fierce determination settling in my bones that felt strangely at odds with the throbbing pain in my ankle. The police wouldn't help, but I wouldn't give up. I replayed the encounter in my mind, searching for any detail, however strange, that might lead me to Sarah, the figure's distorted voice, the way it hesitated when the car appeared. It wasn't gone, that much was clear. It had vanished into the shadows, but like a malignant tumor, it could be lurking just beneath the surface, ready to strike again. And Sarah, where was she? Was she trapped with that figure? Was it holding her captive in some unseen, horrific place? The whirring gnawed at me, a constant ache that threatened to consume me. Taking a deep breath, I hobbled back to the scene of the attack. The street was deserted again, the silence broken only by the distant, rhythmic croaking of unseen frogs. Fear prickled at my skin like 1,000 tiny needles, but I pushed forward, my gaze scanning the ground for anything out of place. A glint of metal caught my eye. Half buried in the dirt lay a small, dented key. My heart hammered in my chest. Could it be a clue? A key to what? I didn't know. But it was something, a single thread in the tangled mess of this nightmare. Pocketing the key, I hobbled back towards the houses, a new resolve burning bright in my eyes. The police might not believe me, but I wouldn't rest until I found Sarah. I'd follow every lead, no matter how strange, no matter how terrifying. And if that figure came back, I wouldn't run this time. The fear was still there, a primal instinct, but it was overshadowed by a burning desire to protect Sarah and a cold, steely resolve to face whatever horrors awaited. That night, as I lay in bed, the throbbing pain in my ankle a dull counterpoint to the racing drumbeat of my heart, a strange sound reached my ears. It was a faint, rhythmic tapping, almost too subtle to be real. It seemed to be coming from the attic, a place I'd never dared explore in the years I'd lived here. The sound sent a shiver down my spine. Was it the wind, an animal trapped in the insulation? Or something else? Curiosity, a morbid fascination warred with a lingering fear. Sleep was impossible. With a deep breath, I grabbed a flashlight from my nightstand and, ignoring the throbbing protest of my ankle, pushed myself out of bed. The attic access was a dusty pull-down ladder hidden behind a bookshelf in the hallway. As I pulled it down, a wave of stale air and the scent of forgotten things flooded my nostrils.